You think you're tough because your phone battery survived a whole day? That's cute. But let's take a trip back in time, to the American frontier. A place where the Wi-Fi was a campfire, the neighbors were wolves, and every single day was a brutal fight between life and death. The women of this era weren't just survivors. They were legends, built from dirt, smoke, and pure, unadulterated willpower. They didn't have comfort. They built it, one painful, bloody, brilliant skill at a time. And here's the truly wild part. Almost every single one of their incredible survival skills is gone now, forgotten, buried under a mountain of takeout menus and TikTok filters. So, let's dig them up. Because these 21 lost skills from frontier women will make you realize just how fragile our modern world has become. And hey, if you're still listening, you're tougher than most already. Might as well hit that subscribe button. You've earned it. First up, they were the fire whisperers. These women could start a fire with nothing but a rock and a healthy dose of anger issues. No matches, no lighters, just pure friction and the determination to not freeze to death. Meanwhile, you panic when your gas stove doesn't light in 0.2 seconds, right? Next, they were alchemists of dinner. There were no grocery stores, no online recipes. If it moved, it was dinner. If it didn't, they found a way to make it edible anyway. They didn't just cook meals. They performed miracles with little more than bones and hope. Number 3 is a shocker. Soap from death. Think about this. They literally turned ashes and rendered animal fat into soap. Fire and death became cleanliness and civilization. We can barely handle a handmade shampoo bar that smells a little too earthy. Then there were the seamstress warriors. Clothes, bandages, and even their dignity were all stitched together by hand. No sewing machines, no Amazon returns for a bad fit. You throw away a perfectly good hoodie because the logo is outdated. They'd patch a patch and then patch it again. They were also human weather apps. No forecasts, no Doppler radar, just instinct. They'd look at the sky, feel the wind, and just know if a storm was coming. We need 5 different apps to tell us it's raining while we're standing in the rain. Which brings us to the nothing wasted law. Every part of an animal, every single crop, every drop of water was used, traded, or stored for later. Nothing was considered trash. Now we throw out leftovers because they feel emotionally expired. Number 7. They were the plant doctors. No hospitals, no pharmacies. Just the plants in the field, the dirt under their feet, and a whole lot of prayer. They brewed potions from roots and leaves that could either heal you or kill you. We Google natural remedies and call ourselves researchers. And how about the water bearers of doom? Hauling 2 heavy buckets of water for miles, every single day, with 0 complaints. You complain when your fancy insulated cup doesn't fit perfectly in your car S-cup holder. The difference is staggering. They were also fire chefs of chaos. Imagine cooking an entire meal for your family over an open flame. No temperature knobs, no timers, no nonstick pans, just instinct, and probably a lot of burns. They didn't cook for comfort. They cooked or they would die. Let's talk about birth without mercy. These women gave birth with no hospitals, no painkillers, and no clean sheets, just grit. And then they often get up the very next morning to milk a cow and keep the farm running. You stub your toe and need a week of therapy to process the trauma. They were candle queens. In a world of total darkness, they created light from scratch, rendering tallow to make candles from wax and pure willpower. You light scented candles for the vibes. They lit them to not die in the dark. Number 12. They were walking maps. Before GPS, they memorized rivers, mountains, and the patterns of the stars. They were human navigation systems. We get hopelessly lost in a mall parking lot and blame Apple Maps for our own confusion. Let's not forget the art of the trade. In a cashless society, everything was barter. Milk for tools, fabric for bread, a day's labor for a neighbor's respect. Your word was your bond. Now, We call customer service to complain because our Amazon package is a day late. And DIY couture. They spun wool from their own sheep, dyed it with berries and nuts, and created fashion from scratch. We buy distressed jeans that are factory-made to look like we survived something, when we couldn't survive 5 minutes in their world. They were winter warriors. They didn't just bundle up. They battled winter itself. No central heating, no cozy blankets from Target. Just a roaring fire, the smell of smoke, and the stubborn, bone-deep refusal to freeze. Food preservation magic was another essential skill. They smoked, salted, and pickled everything they couldn't eat immediately. It was an act of survival alchemy. We toss a carton of yogurt because it one day past their Best Buy date. They also ran the homeschool from hell. These mothers taught reading, writing, math, and crucial survival skills, all while baking bread, mending clothes, and probably killing a few snakes that got too close to the cabin. We need a gallon of coffee just to help our kids with third-grade fractions. Home Security 1.0 was simple but effective. No cops for miles, no fancy alarm systems, just a shotgun by the door and nerves of absolute steel. If something rustled the bushes outside, they didn't scream for help. They solved the problem. They were the bitter medicine masters. The remedies they concocted were so awful, they had to work. No one would suffer through that taste for nothing. We won't even drink a cough syrup unless it tastes like grape candy. And finally, the ultimate test, the loneliness test. Imagine months of isolation. No roads, no news from the outside world, no neighbors to talk to. Just the crushing silence and the sound of your own thoughts. We lose our minds after 10 minutes without phone notifications. But the hardest skill of all, number 21, was hope. When everything broke, when crops failed, when loved ones were lost, when the world went dark and silent. They still woke up the next morning and tried again. No self-help books, no inspirational quotes about healing. Just raw, painful, beautiful hope. They didn't survive because they were supernaturally strong. They survived because they simply didn't have a choice. And somehow, through sheer force of will, they turned that desperation into power. We, on the other hand, have a low-grade panic attack when our phone battery hits 5%. So before you scroll away to the next video, take a moment to remember them. The forgotten engineers of survival, the women who built a nation with their bare hands. And if you made it this far, you've already proven you've got more grit than most. So go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Because the next story we share might just remind you how much our modern comfort has truly cost us. Thanks for watching.